All right, lady, hit it.
Hit it. Welcome to apartment 306, where the motherfucking players sit. Tonight I have Bevy Smith.
Yes.
Cheers.
To queers.
I'm here, and I'm queer.
Get used to it.
Get used to it. Thank you for coming to Brooklyn.
It's awful that I'm in Brooklyn.
How long did it take you to get
It was
here?
quite the arduous journey. It took me about 45 minutes and $59 to get here.
So you didn't do an Uber pool?
Never. The 12th of February is when I'm doing an Uber pool.
Uber pool is like...
Uber pool is the subway. If you're doing an Uber pool, you should just do the subway.
Uber pool is a reality show.
Uber pool is a disaster.
It's fun. Okay.
Is it?
It is. You have to do it. Just do it once so you can say you've done it.
No. I would do it for a check. Like if Uber paid me as a promotional item.
Listen, I do it like 80% of the time that I do Uber, and 50% of the time there are actually people in there, and you get a good story from it. No?
I'm good. I get stories all day, every day. I'm good on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good on that. I don't need that.
So you came from
Harlem,
where you were born and raised.
Yes, I'm a quintessential Valley girl.
Harlem Valley?
Yeah, I was born and raised on 8th Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
And then now I live on the hill, so I'm a hill gal.
How did Harlem, like your life in Harlem, was your family, your parents were like good times? Not good times to show.
Okay.
Like having a good time, like enjoying all the things that living in Harlem really like gave to you, like the culture.
Okay, so my parents did a really interesting thing. They made sure that we understood that Harlem is a part of Manhattan. Manhattan is kind of the epicenter of the world,
Mm-hmm.
and so one must take advantage of all that Manhattan has to offer.
Fast forward, I know you kind of like made a splash in Harlem because you were wearing a cat suit.
Yes, cat suit, Bevy. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so tell me about how the cat suit, like where did you get the cat suit from?
Okay,
the debut of the cat suit?
It was so much more than just the cat suit. It was
Okay.
really the advent of spandex that really made it poppin'. So, you have to remember, this is like the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you watch 80s movies and stuff, you notice that a lot of girls, either they're dressed like boys or they're dressed like Elle spandex dresses. I was on the Elle spandex dresses. Giving body and everything, because my mom instilled in us a very healthy body image moment.
I saw a photo of your mother at your 40th birthday party.
Yeah.
That was explicit, like very giving like sex appeal.
Yeah, my mom is popping still at 88.
She'd been serving.
Yeah, she'd been serving. So I grew up knowing that, the body was something to kind of be celebrated, and if you had it, flaunted. So, by the time I hit puberty of like maybe 15, 16, because I was flat as a board as a kid. Mm-hmm. I'll never forget when I was 12 years old, I went to Washington, D.C. for like a trip with the family, and it was right after Grease came out, and I wore a tube top and like kind of like liquid leggings, like a satin liquid, but I was like flat as a board, so then it wasn't like It was more like, well, there's a teen prostitute with no body.
A young runaway.
a young teen whore. Well,
Wish her the best.
Wish her the best.
In her sexual endeavors.
yes. But I was at the Washington Monument, so there's that.
So when did you blossom? When did you hit like...
I really I came into like my boom poundness like around 15. And then I was like, and like I said, I had a healthy body image. And I had a really great boyfriend at the time. He encouraged me to like show off my owlness, and so
your body yaddy.
Yeah, my body yaddy. He encouraged it, so I felt very liberated and felt very comfortable. Mm-hmm. So that's why when I see things like Amber Rose with the slut walk and all that kind of stuff, I get the sentiment behind it. Mm-hmm. I'm a little troubled because I don't know if these ladies are moving the conversation in the right direction. Because the entire time I was like, Al hit it, I was also,
It wasn't getting hit.
It wasn't getting hit, and I was in school, and,
I was
hitting the books. Exactly. I was hitting the books, and then later on, like, even when I was, like, in the late 80s, early 90s, and it was like the crack epidemic, and I was dressing like, I would get off work and I would change into like a Versace skin tight dress and go to the Rucker games or whatever. I was still working towards, building a career.
Was this when you were the receptionist?
This is when I was, I was a receptionist, and then I became a media planner, and then I became a media director. And
So that whole like flip from that sounds like a dream. Going from being a receptionist to being like, okay, now you work here. A boss.
Well, but here's the thing. It wasn't even a dream. Like, it wasn't even calculated. I was just like, I come from a family of people that work hard. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter what your job is. Like, so if I was a checkout girl at Rite Aid, I would be slaying it. Yeah. It doesn't really matter. So I take every job super seriously. I don't believe in like, oh, I'm not getting paid enough to give a fuck. When I get that job, then, when I get the real job, then I'll really show up and show out. No. You show up and show out no matter what the gig is.
So you've been dressing for success. I can definitely say I've known you since 2006, and I've never seen you not looking like very, very good.
Well, my mom, that's a big part of my mom, like if you come to her house and she has on denim, she's going to apologize.
These dungarees.
Yes, dungarees, she calls them.
A person of a certain generation
calls them
dungarees.
Yes, and she's not pleased that you called it in the dungarees.
That you called it in the dungarees.
And she's in her home.
So you've dressing for success is just like a way of life where you come from.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I do radio now as well as TV, and it's so funny because when I first started doing radio, everyone would be like, this is not going to be televised.
We can't see you.
Why are you so dressed up? I'd be like, I'm dressed up for my fucking self. Like, I'm coming to work. What, should I come to work in my FUBU sweatsuit? Like, I'm not going to do that.
Not FUBU, my man.
Yeah, what, should I come in my cross-color sweatsuit? Like, I don't know. So, I mean,
So you went from being a receptionist to kind of like thrust into like the fashion sales market. What was it like to go to Paris and Milan for like the first time?
Well, the first time I went to Paris was when I was still at the advertising agency. I was a media director, and I went by myself. Mm-hmm. And my boss said, I want to... Kenzo was really interested in having us retain them as their advertising agency. And so we're going to... No, he said, so you're going to go to Paris. I was like, oh, my God, that's amazing. Where are we going? He's like, well, I'm not going. I'm sending you.
You're going to go on your own.
And I gagged, and I called my sister, my big sister, Stephanie Smith-Long, who is...
Shout out to Stephanie.
Shout out to Steffi, who was like, yeah, of course you're going. You'll handle it. It'll be great. And I was like, I'm nervous. I've never been out of the country. Mm-hmm. I didn't speak any languages, not even really Pig Latin. Mm-hmm. So I was just like really nervous. And so, she was like, oh, you got this. And my boss, my mentor, Jeff McKay, said to me that, Paris is just like New York, except they speak French.
True.
So it's very true, right? Mm-hmm. So I went over there, and he was right. And I slayed. Mm-hmm. It was everything, and it changed my life. It changed the trajectory of my life.
So you kind of brought that vibe to Vibe.
Yes, I did.
For sure. So when you got to Vibe, and you were coming in on a wave of like true fashion, were they receptive to that, or were they like...
You mean the brands that I went to speak with? No, they weren't necessarily receptive. I never forget when I first got the job, and when I was a kid, like I had a Gucci book bag, and I had like Gucci rain boots, and I got my first Gucci, it was a canteen bag when I was like 15 years old or something like that. Cross-body moment. So I had been going to Fifth Avenue and going to the Gucci store. And so I kind of felt like when I got to be the fashion ad director at Vibe, I was like, oh, the first stop, we need to crack Gucci. And I'll never forget the guy that I replaced was like, oh, don't even bother. They won't want to talk to you. Yeah. They're racist. And I was like, yeah, but we're spending a lot of money, so I don't understand that. And I have to at least give it a go. So what I did was, instead of doing a traditional sales pitch, I actually took all the incredible fashion that Emile Wilbekin, who at the time was the fashion director, that he had created with Gucci clothing, and I had all those pages laminated. And then I took a quote that Tom Ford had said in WWD, where he said, oh, I made this collection for a pop star who's like Whitney Houston, who's married to a rapper who sails to Monte Carlo on a yacht. And so I was like, well, obviously, that means the collection is for the Vibe audience.
For
Duh.
Sure. For sure.
So I blew up that quote, And then I had this amazing guy named Fernando, and he created a leather case for the laminated photos
What?
and for the quote.
Oh, wow.
And we sent it over via hand messenger to Gucci, and that got me a meeting.
And they gagged on the whole.
But I didn't get the business right then and there, but that got me a meeting. They hadn't even been meeting with Vine. We had the great meeting, and then the next season they said, we're going to give you sunglasses. Because that's how it always starts. They give you the accessories, and then once they give you the clothes, child, then you like, ow, yes. But the first time they usually give you the accessories and they give you fragrance. That's the low end of the totem pole. But what you want is the fashion business.
So this is kind of where I started as a 15, 14-year-old in Atlanta, Georgia. Probably got acquainted with you when you would start doing commentary on these like random kind of E shows.
Yeah, it's on E and on BT and yeah, all that kind of stuff.
So did these kind of like, did you know when you were doing the commentary that you wanted to be on TV?
Yeah, that's why I was doing the commentary. So
were you seeking the commentary?
yes. Well, I was at Vibe. I came back to Vibe. I left Vibe and went to Rolling Stone, and when I came back, it was because I was going into a direction where I wanted to have a TV career.
Okay.
And that's when you met me.
That's when
I met.
For
And so
sure.
I was a fashion editor at large, and basically the deal was, I said, to my dear friend Mimi Valdez, I said, listen, I really want to be a fashion editor at large. I want to write for the magazine. I want to do a monthly column, and I also want to be the voice and the face. Whenever someone calls from E or from BET or VH1 and wants to talk about fashion and pop culture, I want to be the person who represents for Vibe.
For sure.
And so that's how I started building my reel.
So you knew then. So then were you taking your classes then?
I was taking my classes, my improv and my acting and my juggling and my fire eating and my pole dancing, all of it.
So you've always like challenged yourself.
Yes, honey. You don't rest on your laurels.
Did you know that was the goal to eventually like be on national TV?
Of course. What the fuck? You don't quit a nice 6-figure job to like, be a loser or to be, mediocre at some shit. You quit to be excellent at whatever the next endeavor is.
So during that time when you were, you weren't enjoying the perks of the cushy 6 figures and you were really trying to create the real true Bevy aesthetic, did you ever like lose confidence?
Never.
You've always had.
I say this to this day. You let your past successes fuel your future endeavors. So I don't already.
Cheers.
Yeah. Okay. I'd already beat the odds countless times. You know what I mean? So I was already. The black girl who worked at a luxury goods advertising agency and who rose to like be, one of the main parts of that agency, and I was the only black person in that space. I was already the girl who had broken Gucci and Prada and Dior and all these amazing luxury brands when everyone said it couldn't be done. I'd already beaten the odds as a kid when everyone around me was getting pregnant and having kids at the age of 16 and such, and I was like, not so much for me.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So I continually had beaten the odds, and so I knew that about myself. So I was like, I'm gonna beat these odds too. Watch. Or as Trinidad James would say, don't believe me, just watch.
Nigga.
Exactly. I don't say that word on air.
So I'm gonna ask you this in closing. You love to dance.
Yes, I'm a dancer.
You cut
and I do private dancer for karaoke. Do you want to see me do the shimmy again? Oh.
You have one song to dance to.
Okay, so this is a lovely story. Our friend, Q-Tip.
Hi, Kamal.
When he would DJ parties and he would see me come in, he would put on Rick James' Cold Blooded.
Ooh.
Yes, and Rick actually wrote that for Linda Blair.
Oh.
Little known factoid.
Pop-up video.
Yeah, exactly.
Cold Blood by Rick James is your cut a rug tune.
One of them. I've got a lot of them.
No, you love music.
I love music, but I love a lot of different types of music. You know what I love to dance to, weirdly enough? When I took an acting class and we had to do something that we would do privately, we had to do it publicly. there's a rock song. Clowns to the left of me and jokers to the right. Here I am stuck in the middle with you. I love to dance to that.
That's a good song. And this has been a great interview.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching 306 Late with Bevy Smith. Where can they find you?
They can find me on everything, all social media as Bevy Smith. Because I'm a smart gal. I own all that shit.
True. It's been great.
It's been divine. It's been an extravaganza. She gets the gag award.
Good night.
Good night.